former Valor FC captain, a former national team player for Cuba, Andy Baquero. AB2, Andy Baquero, welcome to the Observer of Football podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me today. I'm very happy to be here and excited for this interview.
Absolutely. Andy, I've been waiting for this podcast for a long time. I was in the stands at, what was called Investors Group Field at Princess Auto Stadium now, watching you at the right back position, cooking CPL competition, feeding beautiful balls into the box, just taking on defenders. And I'm just so excited to get to talk to you today. As you know, Winnipeg has kind of gone through a little bit of a dark period here in the last couple of weeks. Unfortunately, Valor FC, unfortunately, no longer in operation. Hopefully, that's is something that's just temporary. Hopefully, we can get a professional team back here. But being a former Valor FC captain, I thought that it would be great to kind of get your overall experience with the with Valor FC, your story in general. I think it's going to be a really good one. I think the audience here is going to really love this. And yeah, who better to have than a former Valor FC captain?
Thank you. Thank you so much again.
So I have to say here, Andy, now you have a very really inspiring story coming from Cuba. You grew up there. I heard that you played multiple different sports. Kickbox was fun. Baseball is obviously very popular in Cuba, having a lot, yeah, they're having various successes there, and also in soccer. I have a little question though. In Cuba, do they call it football or do they call it soccer?
They call football.
Football?
Football. Like in Spanish, yeah, they call football.
Okay, the proper way. I was just really curious. I know that family is a big thing for you, and we're going to touch a little bit more on that later on in the podcast here. But what kind of influence, you're involved in three sports, but why soccer? Why did that one stand out compared to the rest?
It's a crazy story, to be honest. I just came one day to play in like a park close to my house, and a friend of mine. I always need to say thank you to Eric because he was the one like asking me, "Hey, you want to play soccer?" And I'm a little kid, and I just say yes, yes. Let's have fun. Let's play soccer. I never tried that before, and that changed my career, changed my life. But it was crazy. I wasn't expected to be a soccer player. I was more into it like a baseball because all my family like played baseball before. So I want to be a baseball player, but I I don't know why I picked soccer, but I'm very happy and grateful to make that decision.
So that's really interesting because again, baseball is very a lot of hand-eye coordination, with the hands hitting the bat. Okay, let me guess your position in baseball. Say shortstop.
Kind of close. I prefer like second base.
Well, dang, okay, I was gonna say second base as well, but okay. So yeah, definitely good to hear about that base there. When I heard that you were in kickboxing, the first thing that came to my mind was Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And I'm like, that kind of explains the technique between the two. Because honestly, when watching you play, you have really good technique on the ball and just have that ability that many not a lot of players actually have. So it's kind of cool to see that. Um, also as well. So, kind of talking about how, you had to influence in sports, I know that baseball is probably one of the preferred ones. Soccer ultimately became the journey there. How did that look? I mean, from what I understand, I've been to Cuba myself. I mean, only like a very tourist level type of view. Love to, by the way, beautiful scenery, beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
But like, how does that system look for a youth player? Because you obviously got to the national team level. Like, can you talk about a little bit that journey and how you got there and the sacrifices you had to make?
It's kind of hard to be honest in Cuba because we have competition for all different levels. But after that, you have to make like we call like a pre-selection for your province, and that is like about like 25 players. But if you count how many teams we have per like states, it's like more than 400 players. So to make 25 is very hard. And also in Cuba, it's a lot of holidays and people with more money than the other pay and their kids go over another guy with more talent. So it was really hard to make that selection. The first 2 3 years I never made that selection. I just getting by. So they for example they made 25 players and they invite 3 4 more. And I always getting by until I made the team for the first time. But even the first time I made the team, I was part of the official roster. So they made 16 players and 2 more as like if something happened. So I was that 2 more. But I take my chance and won the competition and my province, Havana, is like really, really good. And the majority of the time we win every single tournament. But it's really hard. After that, you need to make U15, U17, and now you start counting all the provinces in Cuba. So even more hard. And again, I don't make the U15, the U17. We play a tournament because the national team camp is in Havana. We they make a tournament every time the national team come, and they use 2 teams from the national team, and they invite 1 team for another province and one team from Havana for the capital. It's very hard like to make these tournaments, but in one of them, I guess I led the MVP of that tournament, and I made the U17 pre-national team. So I was training with them, and I made the U17. After I made the U17, I never get out of the national team. So I made U17 and all the way to the senior level, U17, U20, U23, and senior.
Well, it just okay, so that's an amazing story, and thank you so much for kind of explaining that. But I feel like the biggest thing there is the kind of the expression getting your foot in the door. Like once you kind of get into like that, you said, like you said, broke into the U17 team, you never lost your place. But I feel like getting into that spot was the hardest part.
Of the house part, to be honest, of the house. Yeah, yeah.
Now, I also like to, to highlight this too. And, one of the things I really found inspiring about your story, just when doing some background, even when you were here, getting to hear your story and like sacrifices you have to make. Like, is it true that you had to take an hour and a half to 2 hour bus ride to every training session games? Like, that's insane.
Yeah, because I wasn't part of that team on my province. I was in the school outside of they going to a school like just for sports, and I was in the school outside. So to my house, to that school to train as an invite player, I have to take the bus for like an hour and 45 minutes almost. So I here in Toronto when I escape and I have to take the train and the bus to go training, it was so easy for me because you have internet and yeah, take you like an hour to get there, but with internet I say like I pass for this already. So that's so far like nothing crazy to me, but it's hard. It's like imagine like go 145 minutes, 1 hour 45 minutes to train, finish train, go back to your house the next day, go to school, go back and do this like 3 4 times in a week. It's crazy, but it show the sacrifice I put and the desire to then I had to make the national team and play soccer.
So I know that kind of talking about your passion for soccer and just taking those bus rides there. Um, I know family is a huge part of your life, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that, obviously. But I know you said earlier in a previous, I think it was Top Left podcast, which I've had a chance to listen to, and if you have a chance, go subscribe to them. Um, but one of the big things there is that your family wasn't able to come watch a lot of your games, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's
But then it's a funny story, but I think, believe it, correct me if I'm wrong, but your brother came to watch one of your games and he was very vocal.
my brother from my game because he get too emotional. And I play an amazing tournament U17, and then the coach, without reason, they bench me, like, and my brother like was getting on the sand, like getting like bad things to the coach, and I told my mom, hey, my brother can't come anymore because that I'm not in troubles, So that had problem for my games, but I love the way he loved my game. I love my brother.
He's passionate. Let's just say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, oh yeah.
Has he been in any other games since you kind of played professionally?
After that, there was another situation, a full game, but this is even more crazy because he was listening the game through the radio, and I don't know why the commentator say I was in a fight in the middle of the game, and my brother take the bus from his house to the place where I was playing and start yelling, "Who is this guy fighting with my brother?" I say like nothing happening here. And it sounded like he was like 1v1 hard with the guy, but I know it wasn't a fight. So yeah, you get like very emotional and passionate about his little brother like me.
Hey, I'm an only child, but hey, you have a brother that's always going to be back in your corner. And, sometimes they can cause a little bit of ruckus, but you always know that they have your back. And I love that passion. And, that makes for some great stories. And that's awesome that he can bring that passion to you on the pitch. So I love to hear that. Now, let's just kind of dive right in here to, the national team, breaking into the U17 squad here, getting to wear the Cuba national jersey. Like, can you describe, like, taking your first appearance for the national team? How was that feeling for you?
It's something like I always dream about it. Like play for the national team, like represent my country was like something like when I start playing like okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play soccer. Now my dream is like represent my country. Was like huge. It was like I like no one in my in my neighbor like no one in my neighborhood like was playing for the national team. So that's where it was amazing. And I remember watching Trinidad and Tobago U17, and when I was in the previous game and the national anthem, like it was crazy. I started crying. Let's say, oh my goodness, like my dream comes true.
Hey, and that's something that, like, I wish I could live out that dream too. Like, I mean, there's got to be no better feeling than when, you're being representing the country.
People are interrupt you about. I feel like because that moment, the only moment in games where I get like a little bit nervous is when the national anthem is playing. It's crazy. I never get nervous. I have too much confidence. But when the national team is like playing, I feel like all these memories came to my mind, and my body's like a little bit shaking. But after that, let's go. Let's have fun in the field.
And that's just kind of right. Like, I mean, there's don't get me wrong. Like, club games are also huge games too. But when you're representing your country, it just adds a little bit more pressure, right? You're the top player that's chosen to represent your country, and not a lot of players get to do that. So, absolutely. Like, I mean, I think a lot of players, and even such yourself, who has a lot of composure on the ball, you're going to be nervous, right? Because players are on your country's eyes are on you, and the expectations are high, right? You got to perform at a high level. I also just kind of wanted to talk about more too, and again, this is like what's really what I love about the game of football. But even though you made it to the national team, like, I mean, you even represented Cuba at the U20 World Cup, correct?
Yeah, that's all right.
Having that World Cup appearance is huge, but again, those sacrifices still had to be made. Like, again, were you still taking those hour and a half, 2 hour bus rides still at that time?
No, and not one of up, but I'm gonna say like 40, 45 minutes. Yes.
And then as well, like, I mean, I'm assuming at that time, like, players in Cuba they're not paid, correct?
Oh, we don't get paid. I always joke about this, but our salary per month was $8. $8 per month, and that's why I need to take the bus because if I take a taxi, it's like $1. So I have seven to survive, and how many days I have to go training, and I have to eat, and I have to like get dressed, and I have to like give something to my family. So it's crazy. I always make this joke because in here in Canada, you finish game and you can take a shower and you can go home like you can go home like clean. But in Cuba, we finish training, we we barely like take change and we jump in the bus like sweaty, and people are looking at us like saying, "You play for the national team or you here?" Like you like it. I'm gonna be honest. Some of the people are looking at like, yes, you play for the national team or you smell bad because you are like you finish training and you jump in the bus. Like, what's this? And it was crazy. And I always make this type of joke with people because they say, no, yeah, you play for the national team. I say, yeah, but you don't know how like how many sacrifices I have to do it to be part of the national team. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, especially when you have like, just everyday living, right? Like cost of living, things like that. Like you said. I even read as well and heard that you were even having to sell some of your key, like your jerseys, right?
People they call me Baque because my Vaquero, my last name, Barrio Fashion. It was like a Walmart keyword. I sell like everything. My cleats, my jerseys, my shorts, like Cuba cigar, like everything. But
That's just like, again, that's why like I really love your story, because again, there's just much more than just the game. Is a lot more societal impacts and just a lot of the sacrifices that you have to make for yourself and for your family, right? Like not only the time, but also again, like being paid like very low salary, very low wage, and just trying to get by. It's just a whole different lifestyle, right? And that's one thing I really love about the beautiful game, the game of football, is that any type of backgrounds can play this sport, and it can really give you an opportunity. Like there's really truly no sport like it in my opinion. um and that's one of the things I really want to highlight here, because again, you have such an inspiring story, and you're right here in my own backyard in Winnipeg. And I think that was one of the things too that I don't think is talked about enough. Like I think that the CPL, the Valor, what's the Winnipeg community here, just in general, I think they got to hear your story, because again, you don't hear many like that at all. And I'm just so proud of how far you've come. And obviously, we're going to talk more about your professional career. We're going to talk about moving to Canada, how that all worked, and just how your transition looked. Because again, there's lots to talk about there. So what made you choose to go to Canada?
to be honest, it wasn't my plan. It's something that happened like right after the game. I was ready to go back to Cuba. Um, my best friend defect in June of 2019, and I came here in September. But we have another game in October in USA. So that was my plan. Okay, now it's my time. I have been through like a lot of problems with the federation in Cuba, like contracts and everything, and they don't let me. So I'm on escape in USA. But when I came here after the game, I just saw about the 70 something minutes. I just saw up and then I started thinking about escaping USA. In the bench, I was thinking about escaping USA, but in Cuba, because they have the control of everything, I was scared because my best friend escaped in USA and they can tell me in Cuba, hey, we write your name in your passport with X. I don't have an X in my name, but unfortunately, you can travel to the States. So I was a little bit scared about that, and um, in my way to the hotel, something came to my mind and say, this is the time to escape. You're mature now. And I just text my mom, and my mom was like, hey, I'm gonna have the chance to see you in 8 years, but if this is your decision, go ahead, be strong in here. We're gonna be strong for you in here, but you need to go and fight for what you want. So as soon as my mom texts me as a message, I say, okay, it's that time. It's about that time. So let's start planning how I'm gonna run from the hotel with all these security around me.
And let's just like really highlight that. Like I can't imagine like the amount of stress you must be going through. Like, not only are you have the stress about, trying to escape and trying to, trying to, exile from Cuba there, but you got your family, right? Like you said, you can't see your family and your mom for how many years, right? Like you're not only are you defecting, but you're also potentially leaving your family for a period of time. That's gotta be tough.
Yeah, that's for me. That's the most hard decision. Like I went to the States more than 4 times, and I never escaped because that period of time, like 8 years, is a lot. Like how many things can happen in 8 years, So that was my biggest affair. But again, I at that time I was like really mature to make that decision to have the courage to leave my family for that period of time.
Well, that takes a lot of courage, and just to help better yourself, and that's something I want to commend you on. Like I can only imagine, and I mean, I'm glad that things worked out. I mean, at the time, it probably was very stressful for you. Probably a lot of adrenaline that was going on. When the time finally came, you're like, okay, I gotta take action here. I gotta take. Can you kind of run me through like what was kind of going through your head? Like it must have just been a blur, I assume.
To be honest, I could even remember like how many things happened to my mom at that moment. I just and even running to escape, I was thinking like, man, go back and your family. And it always was like that, your family, nothing else. To be honest, it was just you don't gonna see your mom for like how many years, your parents, like your grandpa, your grandma. I'm never gonna have the chance there. Like they are all like that was my biggest scare. Like lose one of my families and not have the chance to say bye to them. That's why I never like escape, but at the same time, I want to play pro. I want to be a professional soccer player. I knew I had the talent to play pro, and I want to prove myself. I can live. I can make money what I want from what I know to do. I know how to play soccer, so I want to make money off this. That's why.
Yeah, and I mean that again. That's the whole reason for it too, right? For that to pursue that professional career of football is the main thing, right? And again, having that chance and living that dream is again one of the things that made that decision. And look how where you came from now. I want to touch on that too. Just before we kind of touch on your first little, into professional soccer here. My question is, okay, so so you defect from Cuba, you come to Canada. When a player moves to a whole new country, especially with a new language, like there's a whole lot of aspects that go into that. Like sometimes players had a hard time settling, especially in your situation. Like, I mean, you got a whole new way of life, new culture, got to learn a new language. Like, how did you settle into Canada? Like that must have not been easy.
Man, it was hard. Was hard. I moved in September. It's I know like winter is coming around October, November in Toronto, and 2020 was hobby. So everything like was expected. I say, okay, this is a new league in Canada. Okay, let's try. Let's go for CPL 2020 hobby. So I say, okay, now it's over. So I have to start work, construction. I have to start paying rent. I move. I have bills to pay. Like this is a completely different world for me. And thanks God, I met like amazing people, amazing family, which helped me to and all this process. First of all, my coaches in here give me the chance to sleep in their basement for like 6 months until I say, you know what, I meet these people, like this family is gonna give me work, another basement, and soccer, and also music. So thank you so much, Familia Silencia. And yeah, I start from that. I start meeting like a lot of people in here through soccer, and I started like working on my English even more in the construction side. So and again, I was mature enough to say, okay, you live in a new country, you need to start like speaking the language to like make things happen. with the Spanish right now, you just gonna play in the Spanish league of futsal. That's what you want? And I always answer to myself, no, I want to play professional soccer. So I have to go for English and be ready.
And that's the aspect too, like, right, you gotta, that language component is very important for it. And then also, like, you had, support here. That's one thing that can't really go underrated here, because without that support, you wouldn't be able to get where you are today. And one cool really thing I wanted to highlight here on the podcast, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. Apparently, you joined a team in Scarborough. They're like Ukrainian side, I believe.
Yeah, I was on the social workers.
Yeah, and were they not paying you? It was like $100 a match.
Every Sunday, I play with this team, and they pay me $100. So I never had $100 in my hands. So every time I play with those guys, I probably can beat Ronaldo or Messi that day. I was so excited to play that game on Sundays. To receive that $100, that's incredible.
Love to hear that. It's such an amazing story. Yeah, I have to ask you though, Andy, with that first $100, what did you do with it? Did you spend it on clothes? What did you spend it on?
To the mall, because my friend invited me to a cruise, like this trip in the Lake Ontario where you have a party kind of stuff. So I finished the game. I remember I went to Zara. I buy shirt, pants, and boots.
You're looking for a club, professionally. You're playing, at the Scarborough level with Ukrainians. You're still working. How does that process look like? How are you trying to find clubs? Like, how do you get your name out there?
Well, I completely stopped on 2020 because COVID. Again, I get a lot of weight. And to be honest, in that period of time, I say, soccer is soccer, to be honest. And but I meet a lot of people. I need to shout out Jasser and Q1 guy to introduce me with all soccer in Bonn with Patrice and Bonn soccer club. And in the meantime, I wasn't playing a lot. I play on this kind of like we call like our own indoor league. When I met all the CPR players from Toronto, and I also play indoor leagues where I met all the futsal guys, and that's when all the things around soccer start like happening. So people start talking about hey, it's the 3Q1s that just arrived fresh from Cuba. They look like very good and this and that. And we start training with Vaughn and Patrice and all Vaughn stuff. Like made the connections with Halifax. First of all, Halifax was the first club to make a proposal, but because COVID, nobody knows if that this gonna happen or not. And then through again Vaughan Soccer Club, Kian Flores from Winnipeg, shout out to Kian, one of my best friends. He played in Cuba on national team. We played together, and then he moved to Canada. They play for Canada, obviously. And between Vaughan, Kian's, and my agent Josh from Akon and Rob Gale, between those four, especially the Kian's, because he always Gales. We have a good relationship with Rob Gale. I love Rob Gale. Shout out to Rob Gale. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So Kian's spoke with Rob, and then Vaughn, and then Akon Sport Group. So like we made a connection to have the tryouts in Winnipeg. It's funny because I went to Winnipeg in a comic league, and I had to be in quarantine for 7 days, which means like I couldn't train for 7 days, and my flight ticket was only for like 12 days. So I just had the chance to train with Valor for like 3-4 days. One of these days was a game, and unfortunately, one of the center back I think was Amir from Panama. He got injured, and Rob take me to his office, and I really have to say thank you, Rob, for being honest with me, because after that, I never beat a coach which are being honest with me like that. He have a conversation with me in the office, and Rob say, yeah, and look, I need to be honest with you. I really want to sign you, but I have this situation. I need to sign a new center back. If I find a Canadian center back, I sign you as a foreign. But if not, I don't have any more spots for a foreign player. And I say, man, like, thank you so much. At least you're being honest with me. So I came back to Toronto, and it crazy, like, it's another crazy story of my life. I don't think I ever mentioned this in the interview. So after being here for 3-4 days, I received a phone call saying Valor a claim for special permission for me to play as a local player, because at that time I was like a refugee person. I was doing taxes and everything, and CPL accept. So they booked my flight back, and they signed me as a local player. That was amazing. I remember when they called me, like, I feel like so good. I started crying, calling my mom, and say I signed Hopper. When I was telling my mom 4 days before, Mom, like, I need to wait, like, things don't go well because injured and stuff. So there we go.
That's an amazing story, and that's one that you don't hear much about. And that's, I mean, again, big shout out to Rob. Though I've heard tons of stories. Like, I mean, I'm good friends with Rafa Ween, Tyson Farrago, other professional players, and they say that they always kind of get the runaround. Like, they always get told, "Oh yeah, we'll sign you," and then it just seems they never
And
get the runaround.
oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I need to say again, thank you, Rob and Damien. And I need to, and again, sorry if I'm taking so long, but I need to say this. Like, I always want to remember these two guys, especially Rob and Damien, because I remember that year I signed on December 31st. The first message I received on January 1st, was Rob Gaylor saying, buddy, Happy New Year. I say that, yeah, I have a good relationship with the coach for that. The coach telling you first thing January 1st, like, Happy New Year's. Man, I have that in my head forever. Forever, forever. Thank you so much, right? Rob Gill and Amy Rock.
That's like the one thing, like, and again, I'm not at that level at all, but like, I'm managing my own Sunday league team here, like trying to go up through the divisions. And the big thing that I find this is with coaching, or just like, in general, management is like taking that extra effort to build that relationship and rapport with your players, right? Like, I mean, Rob just sent a text, but he gave that forethought to send you on January 1st saying, "Hey, Happy New Year." And that makes such a long-lasting impact, right? And look how much relationship builds. And honestly, it's one of those small things I feel like gets overlooked by a lot of coaches. And I feel like they got to spend more time building those relationships with players.
100%, 100%, 100%. I'm doing coaching stuff right now, and I cannot be away from my players. Like, I play the game, and I know how important it is to have that relationship with players, and they gonna fight for you even more because they know you a little bit more. So I don't know. That's my advice for coaches. Be a star doing that.
So you talked about it. You got the big contract with Valor FC. Big New Year's, starting off the new year, you get to tell your family, "Hey, I signed my first professional contract in the CPL." Just take me through, you come to training, your first special contract, something you've been working towards your whole life, right? You've like moved to Canada, you get this first contract, your first match day. Talk about that. Like, you go into the dressing room, I bet you see your jersey hung up. Talk about your first professional appearance. Like, that's gonna be amazing, isn't it?
Oh my goodness! Like, also the first days of my life. Yeah, I was in the bench, by the way. But again, another crazy story. I was training with Valor as a midfielder, the position I love, and I think it was like, I don't remember the exactly minute, but around like 20 minutes, Brett Levi's getting injured. And Rob look at the bench. We have a few years, like, and he looked at me and called me like, Andy, can you play right back? I say, Rob, I can play goalkeeper if you need me. I just want to play. I just want to play, but I didn't. I just want to play. I remember that day against Force, and yeah, he put me as a right back, clean sheet. I think I was one of the best players in that game. We won 2-0. Like, Rob looking at me and say like, I'm sorry for you, buddy, but you never gonna have the chance to play in the midfield after your performance. Play right back? Let's play right back. I don't care. I just want to play. I love the game. I don't want to sit in the bench. So if I have to play the right back, I play right back, and I play the all the league right back. So funny because the only day you put me as a midfielder, I score a goal. So Rob, next time, put me as a midfielder.
Oh, that is honestly so amazing. But hey, an opportunity comes up and you got to take it, right? Now, it's actually kind of funny because, like, I was in the stands. Like, I was watching these games. I got to see you play. And I will say, though, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. You just score a goal as a midfielder. Obviously, that's your preferred position. Probably seal a little more goals. But I really think you added such a different dynamic to that right-hand flank. Like, when I watch, even, like, at the time, even before this interview, I was watching some of your old highlights. And you get to see some of those defenders. Like, they're not used to having a right back that has that technical ability who can take on defenders. Like, I was seeing some of those defenders there, Andy, and they were scared. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah, that's all right.
I love how you're able to, like, not only cut inside, but you're also feeding balls into space, creating chances. Like, it just added such a different dynamic. And I think that's something that goes unappreciated. And, you see a little bit more today, obviously, the top level, like, Trent's one that comes to mind, Real Madrid player there for that. Hakimi, Theo Hernandez. But in the CPL, I really feel like you're one of a kind in that position.
Yeah, maybe because I currently play is Dani Alves, I play the way he used to play. So I'm more like, and because of futsal, obviously, I'm more like a tiki-taka player, pass and move, like going behind, but also make that run to support my winger or my number 10 or my striker. So that, and again, futsal give me a lot of confidence to play with the ball. I'm not that type of like soccer player who to get the ball and trying to kick the ball down. I'm more like let's have possession. Let's enjoy the game. Let's enjoy with the ball. Let's have some possession and create chances out of our possession with the ball.
Absolutely. Well, hey, that's not a bad inspiration to take, especially on the field. Dani Alves, truly, really one of a kind fullback for sure. Now, Andy, there was one other part. I want to just kind of turn back to here. Family, huge. You're especially defecting to Canada. You're not going to be able to see your family for quite some time. Your mom, right? Now, if I'm not mistaken, did she not come to visit you in Canada? Did she even come watch one of the Valor games?
Definitely the chance to invite one of my family to professional soccer game. That's something I've been working and I'm still working even with 31 years old. Man, I just want to play like 2 or 3 more years professional and have the chance to bring my family to a professional game. As I just bring her to a League One game. First time she came to watch me, it's not professional, but it's League One game in here, and I scored the first goal, so I'm more than happy for that. But I want to play a professional game and bring my mom. But yeah, I knew I had that chance.
Well, hey, you know what? You're only 31. I'm 30, so I mean, you still have time to make that appearance. I'm sure there will be teams lining up just to have you. I mean, I just got to say too. I mean, you after some years apart, you get to visit your mom, come to Canada. Like, that must have been a huge experience for you. Probably a lot of emotion, and scoring that goal must have been some goal. It must have been some celebration, I bet.
Yeah, I want to there. We faced that day in the first place of the League One. We beat them like 3-0. I think it was one of the best performances of Bond last year, and scored the first goal. I was so happy. I ran to it and I say, Mom, this for you.
Well, obviously, the news is, sad news for Winnipeg here. So I wanted to get your opinion. Like, I know Rob kind of mentioned some things, like how the club wasn't, necessarily supported, things like that. And, just those type of things. And, you don't have to negatively speak about Valor, but can you just kind of give me like I know you're there when Rob was there briefly. After, can you kind of explain like how was there any major changes that you seen between the between the switching of managers at all?
Well, first of all, I think like Winnipeg soccer community deserve more, way more, way more than what they get in the last years. I feel like we lost too many chances to connect with the soccer community. And again, I have to give all the credit to Red Free Racing fans, the French, because and again, by myself and with a bunch of the fans, we make activities for kids in the schools, not through Valor. Like that for me is incorrect. Valor need to give more to the soccer community. I was training one of the teams over there, Lucania, and all those guys, some of the times, was bugging me, come and watch one on our practice session, like practice sessions. And I feel with Rob, we had a lot of office sessions to the fans and stuff. And but after that, we lost that. We lost that connection with our fans. And then you see the stands was empty because of that. Of course, I'm very sad about this news. Like, but don't take me as a surprise because it's sad. But I need to be honest. Nobody cares about Valor. The owners don't care about Valor. They don't care about Valor. It's sad, but it's the truth. They don't care about players. They don't care.
Well, I mean, I think one of the big things that even like that Rob kind of shined light on is like they weren't even paying the bills for the last 2 years. Like, that just goes to Joe, and they weren't even willing to spend to the salary cap floor, right? Like not even to be the floor, not even like the cap. So it's one of those things like it's at some point. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big passion. I'm very involved here in the community. Like I coach, I play in the futsal league and all that stuff. Like in the men's league here. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Andy. Like I go play pickup games at Dakota Field just every Saturday sometimes. And some players didn't even know we had a professional football team. Some other clubs, I know you mentioned Lucania. You also had other youth academies like Phoenix. You had Bonnie Vital, like all these other major youth football soccer club academies here. They're like, well, we're not getting supported. And like, if you're not feeling like you're being supported or interacted with, then why are the families, the players, the kids going to go to the games, right? It was a big disconnect.
It's funny because in Cuba, and in Cuba, it's not it's about baseball and another sport, not soccer. But I go out in Cuba and people recognize me. Oh, it's Andy. He played for Cuba nationality. I won't know the Winnipeg. And again, as you say, like people don't even know we have a soccer club in the city. How is possible? How that's possible? And again, I went to Halifax, for example, to play. As soon as you arrive in the airport, it's a big a board saying Halifax Wanderers. You go to Hamilton and you can see force everywhere. And that's the thing. The same thing happened to George or Inter Toronto. I don't know. It's too many names. But again, you going out and here you don't see anything about Inter Toronto. And again, it's the same thing with the World Cup. I go to downtown and you don't see any boards announcing we're gonna host the World Cup. Like how that's possible? And again, I go back to Valor. You go into Valor and maybe you can see 1-2 players around the field. But after that, you don't announce, you don't promote, you don't take the club and say, okay, 3 players have to go here and bring. I always say it's easy. I don't have any problem. Give me 100 tickets for free. Give me 100 tickets for free one time. Or buy 1, get 2. But fill that stadium for us, for the club, for the community, for the city. Fill that stadium. Like giving the chance Ottawa do that, buy 1 get 1 free. And look at the field in Ottawa. It's crazy. It's crazy, man.
Well,
Come on, you want something that you cannot do that? Come on.
I feel like I feel like it was, and this is my opinion. Maybe you could tell me if I'm wrong or not. But I feel like the team was like it was brought in, thought it would just be a plug and play, and no effort was needed. You know what I mean? Well, yes, it just seemed like it would people would come out for it, things like that, and you know, it's just really frustrating, like you said, and especially too, like in a really big. It's a nice stadium, like it's a very nice stadium. Princess Hall Stadium is really big, but again, like I look at Mark Cuban from the Dallas Mavericks. Like he said when he first bought the Mavericks, he would reach out to people personally, offer them cheap tickets. They come to the games. You're still spending money on concessions, again, even merchandise.
Yep. Oh, no, but I don't need to go to school to do it. And something came to my mind right now. Bomber Shake, always sold out. I never see a Valor FC player doing the kickoff or the coin or the whatever. I never see, if you like the game, bring your merchandise, put it 50% off, and like half of the stadium with Bombers, half of the stadium with Valor. But then you have two teams in the same field. You need to find a way to make people to buy stuff from Bombers, but also from Valor.
Even for it too, like I mean, don't get me wrong, like here's the thing: Bombers have over 100 years of history, right? Like they've had like investment over time. You build up that fan base, right? Like, and don't get me wrong, like Valor is only here for, like since 2019, and again, like the ownership needs to be committed. They say this is a long-term investment. Like, you know, in early parts of the of the clubs starting up, it's not going to make money. It's just not. Like you got to put that investment in, and it just really feels like, and honestly, it just seems at times I'm just like, you know what, if this was going to be the attitude going into it from the beginning, it's like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of bringing a team here if there's not like that backing? That's just my opinion. And you know, I personally, I really do feel like the Winnipeg community here, the soccer community especially, can support a professional soccer team here, 100%.
On the media.
And again, that's just the one thing that's really frustrating about it. And again, I really wanted to get your opinion on it. And just to see, like, it's. And again, I was talking with Rob Gale. It's just a wasted opportunity. Like, especially in that first year, we're getting thousands of fans. Though I know COVID obviously will have an impact on that.
That I never had the chance, but I see photos from that first year, like mainly like, oh my goodness, I want to play in like the sand like this. It was crazy for like see the stadium like full in a Valor game made me so excited. But then again, we go back to the same point where we lost that connection with the fans.
And that's the thing, right? I think this is I think a good like lesson point just for any like professional football club. Like I know we talked about I believe they're called Inter Toronto now. I know Vancouver is also kind of going through their own thing too right now. But again, the biggest thing, like, and I think if we ever get another football team here, a soccer team here, you got to embrace the community, get them out to the games, and then especially engage with the community, because those are the fans that are passionate for it, and those are the players, especially the youth players, that are looking up to those, like to the Valor FC players, saying, I can get to that level. I can become a professional player. I want to bring, like, I know there's a lot of negativity right now, but let's just try to bring it back to some positive. In your time and being a Valor FC player or captain, what was your favorite moment with the club?
The bubble. The bubble was the bubble in 2021 on the COVID, and we have to play all the games in Winnipeg. Man, that team, the vibe we had with Rob, Ladian, Patrick, man, it's like that's probably one of the best team I ever been. I don't know how to describe how happy you can be with a team in the breakfast, in the lunch, in the training, in the recovery sessions, in the bus, in the game, in the locker, after game, after win, after loss. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Like the communication, like, man, it was incredible, to be honest. Oh my goodness, that was such a nice thing. All the players, we are in the same page. It was good. It was fantastic. I remember, and it's a small things make your team like became more of a family. I remember every single time we finish a game, we go together through the fans, and then one picture came to my mind right now with Dyer and Mas Silva and Batiste. Like we went to the stands, to the fans, and we man, it was like a little things like as soon Rob left, we never did that again. And that's another way to lose connection with the fans. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's so sad to like remember all these and all the things like happen after and all the problems we start getting in our team. So
Now, yeah, and I mean, again, this comes back to wasted opportunity, right? And again, like you said, those small moments, engage with the community, makes it all the better. And I mean, hopefully, if I'm hoping that if we get another team here, that will be not the case, and hopefully we can the
I wish they Baller come back. No Baller, another name, or like Winnipeg. I'm telling you, like the soccer community in Winnipeg deserve a professional soccer team.
Yeah, that's something I think that the community needs to hear right now. I mean, there is some positive news. League One is coming to Manitoba, Saskatchewan, so that's like we're gonna get some international teams, which is something we need. Should have had a long time ago, in my opinion. Sick. You might be also potentially getting a Northern Super League team. So the Women's Professional League, apparently that might be coming. Rob was Kase, so that may be in the works, but there might be a return of professional soccer here. Men's might have to wait a little bit, but there might be here for some women's for sure. You know, Andy, I know you spent several years here with Valor. Can you kind of talk about like, how come things ended with Valor? Just like, was it just maybe just you thought it was time to leave? Like, can you kind of shed some light on maybe why you left Valor back in a couple years ago?
Do you want me to show you what they sent to me? It's very short. No more than like 8 words. They just send me an email saying, Andy, thank you so much. We wish you all the best.
That's it.
That's it. But I later beforehand. I tell you before, they don't care about players. They don't care about players. And nobody knows this. I was only 20, I think like 20 or 40 minutes away to get my contract automatically renewed. And I was the captain. And the last game against Halifax, I just played the last 20 minutes because of that. So they don't care about players. It's simple as that. They don't care. You know something, you got bench your captain after we beat Calgary in Calgary, which we never beat Calgary, I think like 2 times probably in the entire story of the CPL. After we beat Calgary, clean sheet, 1-0. I remember Ponce scored a goal. You gonna bench me because of that?
Oh, yeah.
I have to laugh right now, but again, you don't care about my situation in Toronto. You don't care about nothing. And I was your captain. Imagine the rest of the players. If you treat your captain like that, what the rest of the players can start? And let's be honest. I'll be honest. Do you think, or not yet, because we are talking right now. If you heard this podcast, and I don't want to sound like arrogant or something like that. Do you think the right backs Valor bring after me, any one of them is better than myself? I can answer that question. No chance. It's no chance. And again, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I need to be honest.
Well,
because I have a lot of people like telling me like, how that's possible? Especially when you are the captain.
It's not arrogance. It's literally just kind of like facts. Like, I mean, not only were you the captain, but you have national team experience at the Cuba level, at the, in the U20 World Cup. You also have the futsal level. And also as well, and then like I think there's also a stated as well, you're one of 12 players in history to play in a World Cup, like a outdoor World Cup, and in a futsal World Cup. Like that's just, like having that type of player and having that international experience on the field. And again, your performances speak for themselves, Andy. Like, again, I know it's just facts. Like, yeah, when you left, that was a piece that we never were able to replace.
Like, I can like you can like take me out of the team. Don't get me wrong, but the way they did, bench me, and then send me this like I'm telling you, it's less than 10 words.
Oh, well, again, on behalf of like the Winnipeg Soccer community, I deeply apologize for that. Like again, it's a lack of compassion, lack of empathy. I mean, you're the captain. Like it's not. Yeah, that is super frustrating to hear. I'm honestly disgusted by that. Even if that, like, even give us a proper, like, again, like we said, kind of with Rob. Rob kind of said similar same thing. Like he kind of was just showing the door.
It's a player and a type of player. And again, I take that words. You cannot throw the balls. You place just like that. Like, hey, good luck, bye. You need to have a little bit of respect in that way.
Again, it's just a little. Again, even if like you have that mentality, even just being upfront with you about it, right? Like saying, hey, we're probably not going to resign your contract at the end of the season. At least it gives you kind of like a closure, right? You kind of get to have your hair well with the fans. It's like one of those things. Okay, well, at least in that regard, then at least you can at least have that goodbye instead of just having like an email saying, hey, sayonara. Oh, I mean, like, yeah. Well, again, I'm really sorry that's a sour note. I'm gonna, what an awful way to end a great tenure with Valor. I mean, again, you put in solid performances. You're obviously one of the standout players. I noticed, especially, I mean, the Winnipeg community here noticed, again, that right back position was just never truly the same without you here. But, it was really good to get your insight just kind of like on why you think, if Valor can, if, another Winnipeg professional soccer team can be here again, the whole experience of Valor. I really do appreciate you sharing some opinions on that. I kind of want to take a step away from Valor though. So, you hear the news, you get the email. So what was next for Andy then? Like what was the next steps for you at that point?
Looking for an opportunity, start asking, like knocking some doors, trying to play in CPL again, because after I spent so many years in Valor, be the captain, I say, you know what, I'm gonna have a chance in another team. But I guess the politics that don't let me. It's crazy for me. Like no one in here offer me any like contract, or I don't think a contract. Like at least the chance to try out preseason, and I don't know. So last year, thank you Marco Bustos. He bring me to Pacific to do the preseason over there, and again we're going back to the same politics, like age, these salary cap, all these. Like I don't understand living in Canada and hosting the World Cup. I don't understand when they come to me and tell me like, oh, like age and then salary cap, and I don't get it, but it's what it is. So I start doing I started doing my own academy. Started working around soccer.
And just thank you so much for sharing your experience here on this Valor FC, the Winnipeg soccer community. Again, speaking from being in the community here, it was much needed. You're always welcome back on the show. Love having you. And of course, just wanted to kind of give you a final chance. Do you have anything going on you want to shout out? Anything?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much to having me today. It was a pleasure, to be honest. I feel like a good time in here. And right now, just keep training, and if I have the chance to play pro again, more than happy to do it. So I'll be training. I never stop. And I don't think, and I'm gonna stop right now. I really want to bring my mom to a professional soccer game, so that's what I'm working right now.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we're going to be supporting you here through the podcast. It's on the channel. So again, we'll be your biggest advocate. Hopefully we can see AV2, Andy Vaccaro back on the pitch. I'm sure we will. And hopefully Mama Andy Vaccaro see her son play a professional football match. I hope that can be happen. Make it happen. But as always, thank you so much, Andy Vaccaro, again, for joining me on the River Football Podcast. Again, this will be dropping on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. So please be sure to check this episode out. You cannot miss it. And we'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.